beautiful song, TJ Jackson, who I believe we have with us tonight. Hey, TJ, you there?
I am here. What is
We
going
are
on?
we are loving this new song of yours.
Oh, that's so cool. I've gotten so much great feedback from my followers and supporters and my fans, but also from my friends and family. So it's been really cool.
Great.
Really,
Well,
really cool.
welcome to Stationhead. We're here for your uncle to get him back on the Billboard charts. So the
Yeah.
fans have been working real hard, buying the single and requesting the
Nice.
song and all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah, I love it. And I should say to each and every one of you who are streaming, downloading Thriller, I appreciate it. I thank you so much. My uncle deserves the world. He gave his heart and soul to everyone around him and to the world through his music. So you couldn't have done it for a better person, or you couldn't be doing it for a better person. And I just want to thank you for supporting my uncle the way you all do.
Thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. Now tell us about the new song, how it came to be, and the
Yeah.
folks the record.
So it's funny because growing up as a Jackson, there's so I've done so much music in my life, and I've been around so much music that I've always understood that you can never be rigid with your creation. You can never be inflexible with how you do music. And this was my producer David Tulane. He did the track about 5 years ago, and it was just called Vibes. And he didn't think of anything, he didn't think it was anything worthy, or so he kind of just threw it to the side. And I had been listening to it and listening to it, and over a year period, I had come up with the melodies for the song and really just began to like it. I didn't write the lyrics completely because at that time because I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I didn't know if it was too old school, if it was too 3T or whatever for what I was doing in my current journey as a solo artist. But it just kept coming. It just kept, every time I'd hear it, I'd groove to it and sing what I had in my head. And then, several years after I first heard it, we turned it into what you're hearing now. And it's going to be featured on my next album, which is going to come out in the first quarter of next year. So in the next 3 or 4 months, it'll be out. But I'm excited for all the stuff I have coming up, and yeah, it's I'm in a good place right now with my music, and I'm very happy.
Well, we're loving the music, as I said, and we have 88 fans in the chat room. And how state
Nice.
works is that each one is considered a stream, and Billboard counts those streams. So you got 88 people, 88 streams that are
Oh,
loving
that's
your,
so cool.
and that
Th-
gets
I,
reported.
I had never heard about. You would think I would know about this. I've never heard about this. So, Melanie, when you reached out to me and you told me how it works and what it is, I was in. This sounds
Yeah,
like fun. So, and just experiencing, I'm enjoying it. I've been looking through the chat room and seeing everyone there, and it seems like a party you guys be doing. So,
we, we
I,
have a
this this won't be my
we have
first or my last time.
Okay, we have a good time in there, and there are different fractions in there. There's team off the wall for those who are loving your uncles off the wall. There's
So
team
cool.
team invincible, so they're all fighting,
I
friendly
love
fight.
it. Friendly fighting. I like
Friend.
it.
So TJ, tell me about your work ethic. We all heard about your uncle's work ethic and how much
Yeah.
dedication did he put through that process. What did you learn from that?
Everything. Growing up, seeing my father, my uncles, my aunts, just the whole family do their thing and work as hard as they could and did, whether it was in a rehearsal studio or whether it was in a recording studio. My family put in a lot of work, and that's all I knew from a very young age is watching them. And you don't really realize what the payoff is until you go to a show, whether it's an award show or a concert of theirs. And we were privileged enough, my brothers and I, to get a front row seat to see the love that they received and the help they gave to everyone through their music and the joy they brought to everyone. And that was pretty addicting. So from a young age, from as far as I can remember, whether it was 5, 6, 7 years old, I was ready and willing to put in whatever I had to do to be like them. They were truly like superheroes for me and my brothers. So, and I'm just now, I don't want to say just now, but since I become an adult, I've really started to realize how fortunate I was to have them as my superheroes, to have them as my family members, and to see them, the magic they created. I at that time thought it was a regular thing. That's my father, and uncles. I'm sure yours do similar things, but I'm realizing that not everyone were fortunate enough to be able to sing and travel around the world and share their music. So I was just fortunate. I think I just caught a good time with my brothers where we got to see them and do their thing, and then even when I became a teen, after
Yeah,
my mother was murdered, my uncle Michael really took my brothers and I in, and we traveled with him all over the world. And it was at a time where we were, at least for me, I was getting despondent and a little lost in life.
sure.
And he played a huge role in inspiring me and keeping me and my brothers focused and turning our hurt into power and into energy and into good. And I will always forever thank him and be tremendously grateful for what he did as an uncle for us. A
Absolutely.
lot of people see him as the artist, the king of pop, and this incredible legendary artist. But I've always said this and always will. As good as he was as an artist, he was an even better uncle. So I'm just fortunate that I got to see how much and how hard he worked and the payoff. And it's pretty hard. He never had to say you got to work harder. You guys got to. He never had to do that with us because we wanted to be just like him. So we were asking him, can we work? Can we watch you? Can we study? And he was always gracious and accepting of that.
Absolutely. I love hearing that. One of the things that we know about what you and your brothers have put together is the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation. And
Yeah.
the fans who are in the chat room get to leave tips. And I don't know if you can see it, but it says 510 right now.
Oh, I
Um,
do see
so
that.
that translates into money. And what we have decided to do, because we're doing this, I did one 3 days ago, and I'm doing another Stationhead on Sunday. All my tips are going to go to the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation and
Oh,
Heal
that
Los
that
Angeles.
is that is such a cool gesture, and I will say this, um, for Hill LA and DDJF, it's my brothers and I, and Prince with Hill LA. We are so invested in that, and that's something that we learned from our family, the importance of giving back. And you, Melly, and everyone out there who's tipping or even just supporting and sharing, that means a world to us. We truly want to do good in the world and make the world a better place. So hearing this means the world to us. For our DDJF, there's no one that's paid. It's all volunteer work on our board, and so I want to let everyone know, for whatever funds we receive, it goes directly to the programs we do for people who need it. So
That's
I
great.
just want to thank you.
Oh, we just got a tip of 1,000. There we go. Thank you so.
Wow. Thank you,
Thank.
Junior.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about your Uncle Michael. What do you think
Yeah.
he stood for, and how you thought he made a difference in this world?
What do I think he stood for? Is that what you said, Melly?
Yeah. What do you think he stood for?
He stood for love and peace. Love
Yes.
and peace. To keep it simple. Um, what's going on right now would be breaking his heart.
Yeah.
What's going on in the world right now would just be hurting him. Seeing all the babies, doesn't matter where they're from, what religion, where in the world, he would just be in pain. I'll never forget it. I don't remember the year exactly, but we were staying with him at the Beverly Hills Hotel, my brothers and I. And I've shared this story before, but not often. But we woke up one morning and he came into our room just distraught, just devastated because there was a plane crash somewhere in the
Mm-hmm.
world, and he could not get past it. He was, in a daze. He was staring at the wall and saying, I don't know. I don't understand all those babies and kids who never got to. It really, really messed with him. And I think a lot of people, I think a lot of you all who are listening know, but a lot of people on the outside don't realize how big of a heart he had. And I think the problem is because maybe they don't know that someone can actually have as big of a heart as he did. They can't understand it. But there's no one in this world, maybe the only other person is my grandmother. But my Uncle Michael, I'm putting at the top for the one with the biggest heart and truly one of the best for everyone.
I
So
love him.
that's what he stood for. He stood for love and peace and happiness and joy. He loved seeing people happy, kids, adults. Some of my favorite memories are hearing him laugh and smile, and when he with everyone, whether it was an assistant, if they had a joke or they did something funny, he loved it. So
I love.
he was just a beautiful soul,
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful soul.
I love that. So, TJ, one of the reasons why we're here is that we keep playing Thriller. Every third song is Thriller.
Yeah,
That counts. That gets reported to Billboard. So, if you can hang out with us for a minute, I need to
you
play
got
Thriller
it.
so we can get those streams counted to Billboard. Is that okay
That's
with
why
you?
that's
All right.
why I'm here. So let's do it, Melly.
All right. TJ, I don't know if you know this, but if the fans are successful, and we really hope we're going to be successful, and get your Uncle Michael back on the Billboard charts, the top 10, he will be the only artist to chart in 6 consecutive decades.
Oh
So
wow, I did not know that.
that is why this campaign is so important to everyone here. What do you think about breaking records? I know your Uncle Michael had spoken about it. How important was it for him, especially given all the adversity that he had to deal with?
Yeah, I think for it's funny because for him, I think he did care. He did like records, and I think because he was such a historian and someone who studied, all the legendary artists and
Sure.
even all the older artists, the ones we read about or we play when we first started an instrument, like Mozart and Bach and all them. I think my uncle really respected the longevity of that. And I think he felt, and this is all speculation, I didn't ask him this specific question, but knowing him, I think he felt records were one way to live on and to be accepted as a legend. So
Hmm.
he would every now and then tell us what he was doing and the accomplishments. Brag is the wrong word. He was proud. So he would say, "Guess what?" And just like a brother would do to another. Just
Sure.
share his accomplishments to us and then even with our own accomplishments, 3T ones, there were a lot of them that we didn't even know that he would call us and say, "Guess what? Guess who's number 5 right now? Who, the first time you've had a debut song go to number 5 in this country. It's you all." And he would, inspire us that way. And my brothers and I, we always downplayed it because we always felt like, yeah, that's cool, but we are nowhere near your all level. Whether it was my Uncle Mike or Aunt Janet, we never felt like we were doing anything. So he would always say things like that to, I guess, make us feel better, if that
Yes.
makes sense. But
Yes.
for me, I never cared much about. I don't know why. I never really, it never really moved me much. I get all my satisfaction from people listening and enjoying it and playing it, and I never needed or cared about records. But we grew up differently. He grew up in a time period where people were trying to stop him and belittle him and to tell him he wasn't this or wasn't that or this artist was bigger. So we just had different paths, and I think that may be why.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Um, there's been a lot of conversation about artists like Drake and Taylor Swift beating
Hmm.
uh, your uncle's achievements and
Yeah.
by surpassing him. Um, what do you think about the difference of a what's your uncle's considered now a legacy artist and a digital artist who people can just click something on their computer or their phone and buy a record, as opposed to when your uncle and your
Oh yeah.
and uncles were to make some effort and go into a record store. What do you
Oh
think
yeah.
about? difference of that.
It's I don't want to take anything away from today's artists, but I think that could be a reason. You're 100% right. Just because, like you said, you could click buttons and digest. Doesn't It's not the same thing as people who've been waiting years for a song or an album and will wait at the record stores because they need it. There's a difference, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to take anything away from either of those artists or any of the other large artists in today's time, but it was a different ball game back then. I think, I know I'm gonna be a bit biased, but I truly don't know if there can ever be someone as I say this because I lived it, I experienced it. I went to countries that didn't speak English, but you would think, the reception he got, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable landing into an airport and the whole airport being shut down and just people everywhere. You couldn't even go, and that's how it was normally, and I'll never forget it, for the History World Tour. I believe it was Spain. I should know this. It was Spain. I'm pretty sure it was Spain, but we went to a show, and we came down the elevator in a hotel, and we got into the car, and the whole way to the venue, people were outside of their store or just outside on the street, just
Oh,
applauding as the car drove the 15 minutes to the venue. And it was such a normal thing for him, and it was still like, for me, I had seen a lot of incredible things and a lot of, but for me to experience that at an age I was, because we were 3T at that time and doing well ourselves, it was just a testament and a reminder of how large he was.
yeah,
And until I start seeing that from today's artists, I can't. I'll still say they still have some growing to do if they're trying to achieve that.
we agree.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, and you can really spin the globe, and that was the reception he received.
Yeah,
This wasn't just one country. That's what it was, and it just shows to the power he had with music and the connection he had around the world, and that's a big thing that I think a lot of artists today still haven't achieved.
yeah. I know when I was growing up, the first time I got to see your uncle actually was at the Apollo Theater, and this was
Mm,
before they sat down. So I will always have that memory with me. But just growing up, and anytime your Uncle Michael released a video or short films, as he called it was an event. And I
mm.
remember my neighborhood, we were the only ones who had a big color TV, and there had to be 20 kids in our living room because Michael Jackson was coming out with the Thriller video. And
Yeah.
and those kind of events, and I'm not taking away from any of the artists that we talked about, but people are not doing that anymore as
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, something I remember was, I would think I was it was like early '90s, but when my uncle, I think, like for Black or White and a lot of the albums from a lot of the videos from the Dangerous album, they'd premiere at the same time, I believe, on Fox,
Mm,
BET, like on three different stations. And no other artist had that, where their videos would premiere at the same exact time on multiple channels. And a lot of the kids today, or a lot of people today, they can't understand that, what that meant. That was like your internet. If you went to YouTube and Amazon and on Apple, and you went to all these different sites, and it was just showing the same thing. It just shows you the magnitude he had. And this was pre-internet time, so I just don't think they can wrap their head around the impact and how big he really was. And I think that's why you'll get some people who say this artist is now bigger or trumps him, but they just don't know.
yeah,
They just don't know. And I don't want to blame, fault them, because they don't have anything to really compare it to. So in their world, they think it's the biggest and best, but they got to just study a bit more of the history and really understand the impact that my uncle had.
absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Um, Thriller. Why do you think that song and that video or short film, as your uncle called it, is so iconic that 41 years later, it is
Yeah.
now checked the iTunes chart before we came on, and it is, I think, 26 for a
Mhm.
song 41 years old.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I was when I saw Thriller, I was terrified of it. Of course, I was a kid, so I don't know. I was only 4 years old, five maybe, when it came out, and that was my uncle. So I was confused. I was like, "Are you gonna turn? Are you gonna turn into something?" I couldn't grasp it. So for
Yeah,
me, I didn't mess with Thriller the video, but obviously it hit a nerve with the world, and with the Thriller jacket and just the whole concept. I think a lot of times people forget that my uncle truly was a student of art, and not just music, but of visual art, and the power of visuals. And I think that was, in my opinion, that the Thriller album was the first time he really was able to flex that knowledge and understanding of the power of visuals married with the power of great music. And I truly feel he was the one who pioneered that combination, which led to a lot of other artists being able to become larger. Because he grew up in a time and started in a time where it was mostly radio,
yeah,
and there wasn't those visuals, and for him to understand and be able to pioneer that next chapter, was I think the reason why he was able to dominate the way he did. Obviously, his talent as well, but you have to be understanding and intelligent enough to know that that should be the play, and he knew.
yeah,
He was on it.
absolutely. Well,
You
I'm
know.
excited because while you're talking, we just hit 100 people in that chat room, which means
Hey,
that streams, and that is what your uncle gets credit for, and it goes to Billboard. So we're going to actually
nice,
100, and more people are coming in. So I want to thank you
great,
because they're responding to what you're saying, TJ. Um,
yeah,
I want to play a song, one of my favorites from 3T, at about a
okay.
time when you were in the studio with your uncle. So let me play it and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Hey, TJ. Oh, I love that song. So thank you for that. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, cool. It's funny because when I first heard that song, um, it's so hard for me to say this, but it's just the honest truth. When I first heard that song, it was with my Uncle Michael's voice singing from beginning to end. So
Oh,
for me, when I listen to it, I'm like,
yeah.
because my uncle, I feel is the greatest singer, and there's stuff that I wish we would could have pulled off a bit more, but I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate the compliment.
Is there a solo version of with your uncle in
It,
that
it
song?
exists. I
It
don't
exists.
know what song. It's somewhere. That's what we heard because I don't know if you're familiar with the story on how we even got why, but we were in New York at the Hit Factory with my uncle, and he was in the. I think it was for the childhood string session. We were in New York, and in between songs, I think they were doing this childhood string sessions and maybe another one. And in between the songs, we were in a room, and he played me and my brothers, "You Are Not Alone" and "Why."
Wow.
And he said, and at that time, those were my brothers and I's favorite artists, or at least favorite writing and writers and
Mhm.
producers, with R. Kelly and Babyface. I mean, in the '90s, you couldn't, and you're doing R&B music, you couldn't get any better than that. So we were huge fans of both of them, and he played "You Are Not Alone," which was written by R. Kelly, and then "Why," which was written by Babyface, with his voice on both, and we were amazed at both. And he said, the issue I'm having is I can only keep one. And he said, which one do you think I should record? And he was like, it's tough, they're both unreal. And he says, well, whichever one I don't do, you guys want to record? And we were like, yeah, we'd love to. And then literally this, I'm not playing. We were just us four in a room, and he's like, "Well, I think I'm gonna do You Are Not Alone because Sony really likes that one." I think that's what he said. I don't know if it was a specific person at Sony, but he says Sony's really liking that one. So in that case, do you guys want Why? And we were like, heck yeah. So
Sure.
so yeah. So we didn't have lyrics. We literally were singing, and I don't want to say mimicking, but really singing from his guide, from his vocal. That's why in the bridge, there's a couple words we still don't know what the lyrics are. We're just kind of singing it the way my uncle sing it, Carol is, and it became what it is. You know, we didn't we I think I wish my brothers were on this call so they can clear anything up, but I think we started to do the backgrounds and it was like, nah, we're gonna just ask Uncle Michael if we can keep him on because his backgrounds are too lush and too beautiful. We're not gonna even go down that road. So and then he said, yeah, I'd love to, and that's how it became the duet it became.
Wow, what a gift he gave you all. That's
Right,
a
right.
that's amazing. So, TJ, one of the things that the fans send me questions. They knew you were coming on, and one of
Hmm.
the things they wanted to know, and your brother Taj was with us a couple of days ago, and they had the same question for him. What is it the fans can do to help support your family, especially on social media? Is there anything you would suggest?
I honestly think the love that I see from so many of you all out there is the answer. As long as you're showing love and sharing the good memories and true facts about my family, that's to me the best gift you all can give us. We're not, I'm trying to be more social conscious, social media conscious, and tweeting and all that stuff. But there's so much things that are said about our family all the time that we don't catch everything. So if you know that there's something that's not true, whether it's something regarding a song or an allegation, whatever it is, you all clearing with facts means the world to us.
Yeah,
So that I would just say continue to be do what you're doing, support however you can and however you feel in your heart, and that means the world to us.
that's great. And one thing about Michael Jackson fans or Jackson fans, we can come with the receipts. So
Yeah, yeah.
we
No,
bring them.
and you know what, that will help for some and some it ain't. Some already gonna, some just want to bring certain family members and family or even people down. That's
Yeah,
just them. But
yeah,
you never know who's watching whatever discussion or seeing, looking into replies and responses. So don't ever feel it's a lost cause if someone keeps saying damaging stuff about a family member, and you can, what how you can help is by continuously righting that wrong and with receipts and your personal stories or whatever. um
absolutely.
that means the world to us, and that's how you can help.
Well, we'll keep on keeping on with it. Many of
Hmm.
us are on social media a lot, certainly with this challenge that we're doing. But
Hmm.
it's something important to everybody here. We love your family. We love you. We love your Uncle Michael, and
Hmm.
we live of all of you. So, and that will continue.
And I want to say something too. I want to thank you all, especially those who been showing that love to my uncle while he was here
Hmm.
with us, because he was so thankful and appreciative of his fans. He loved you all so much, and he would brag about you. He would tell stories about you all, and he would show gifts and stuff you all gave, and it meant the world to him. He obviously at some points had to live a lonely life with the world on him and people, backstabbing and betraying him, but you all have always been there for him, and it meant the world to him, and I want to thank you all personally for being there for him.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things your uncle always said is his fans were like family, and we
That's right.
feel that way with all of you as well. That we're very
And we
protective,
and we feel
and
the same way. We love you all so much. So thank you.
thank you. TJ, I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah.
You can come anytime. We're going to be doing these station heads all of next week, working to get your uncle back on the Billboard charts. But we're going to be doing station heads as a regular, maybe once, twice a month. And when you come out with your LP, your album, let us know. We'll have
All
a station
right.
too. So there you go.
I love it, Melly, and thank you for inviting me. I want
Absolutely.
to thank everyone who's on this stream. I just want to thank you all once again for being there for my family and supporting my Uncle Michael. With love to you all always.
Thank you, TJ. And hopefully we can talk to you soon.
All right, you guys, take care.
There's more to hear. Part one of the Station Head series is on this channel, and there's also a part two with Taj Jackson. So check those posts out, and thanks again for watching.